Entry level. 5 years of experience required. You've seen that posting, you've probably screenshotted it and sent it to somebody. Here's what makes it interesting. It's old. LinkedIn analyzed close to 4 million of its own job postings, going back to late 2017. Reported by BBC WorkLife, the finding was that 35% of jobs labeled entry-level asked for years of prior relevant experience. In software and IT, more than 60% wanted 3 or more years. Late 2017, that's 5 years before ChatGPT existed.
All companies out there, please stop saying that you're hiring for an entry-level job when you're really looking for someone with 4 years of experience.
No job is hiring, like whether it be like in corporate, whether it be like a minimum wage, if it's like a retail or whatever.
College grads has recently surged. Economists say businesses are now replacing entry-level jobs with artificial intelligence.
I was told by a lot of people that I was going to get a job right out of college, and then all of a sudden, there's no jobs.
So the contradiction isn't AI's fault. Companies have been asking for the impossible for the better part of a decade. What changed is what happens next. For years, some of those requirements functioned more like a wish list. Employers could still compromise because somebody had to do the routine work. The company needed a person, even if that person still needed training. Companies may not have to compromise as often anymore. That's the question in this video. Not whether AI is taking jobs, whether AI may be removing part of the reason a company needed a beginner in the first place. And if you're 45 and thinking this is a kid's problem, I've got 3 ways it's already sitting on your desk. One of them is your next promotion. Here's the belief most people are working from. Most people think AI is a firing story. A restructure gets announced, 500 people lose their jobs, and software does the work instead. The broad labor data does not show an economy-wide layoff wave.
They're also the party of jobs, jobs, jobs. You see that?
The new jobs report just came in below expectations.
I'm going to be having a heart attack now. 92,000 jobs lost during the month.
And capped the weakest year for job growth since the pandemic.
Massive layoffs. As many as 30,000 corporate job cuts.
Guess what? Their jobs, for the time being, are not replaced with AI.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the layoff and discharge rate was 1.1% in May 2026. The clearer warning sign may be what is happening at the entrance. Let's start with why the entry-level job existed at all. It was a trade. A company hired someone who couldn't really do the work yet, paid them below what an experienced worker would earn, and got 2 things back: cheap hands on the boring stuff, and a person who, in 2 years, could do the real job. Brookings put it exactly this way in January 2026. Entry-level work serves 2 purposes: getting routine tasks done and preparing workers for advanced roles. Those are their words. The grunt work helped pay for the training. Now look at what generative AI is actually good at. Routine research, first drafts, summarizing, basic code, building decks, running analyses. That's not a coincidence. Brookings names the connection directly. Many of the entry-level jobs that provided practice are built around the same kinds of tasks AI is learning to handle. So the trade begins to weaken. If AI can absorb part of the routine work, the company has less reason to accept the cost of training someone from the beginning. 5 years required stops looking like a wish list and starts looking more like a filter because the employer can afford to wait longer. That's the theory. Here's the evidence. In 2025, economists Eric Brynjolfsson, Bharat Chandar, and Ruyu Chen at the Stanford Digital Economy Lab published a working paper called Canaries in the Coal Mine, using payroll records from ADP. Workers aged 22 to 25, in the most AI-exposed occupations, showed roughly a 16% relative decline in employment. More experienced workers in those same occupations stayed stable, or grew. Same occupation, different age, different outcome, and the declines clustered specifically in occupations where AI is more likely to automate the work rather than assist with it. Where AI appeared more likely to assist workers, employment held up across every age group. That's a fingerprint worth paying attention to. A general downturn would not necessarily divide workers so neatly, based on whether their tasks were more exposed to automation. The researchers tested several obvious objections: interest rates, remote work, pandemic effects on education, The technology hiring slowdown, the pattern remained. They published a follow-up in February 2026, specifically addressing the interest rate argument, and concluded that rates alone do not explain why the decline landed so precisely on younger workers in AI-exposed roles. But there is an important limitation. Under the researchers' broadest controls, the separation becomes statistically clear only in 2024. So this is evidence consistent with an AI effect. It is not proof that AI caused every decline. Quick question. When was the last time you got hired somewhere that expected to train you, where everyone knew you couldn't do the job yet and they hired you anyway? Put the year in the comments. Just the year. I think the pattern is going to be uncomfortable. Now, those 3 ways this is already on your desk. 1. If you're changing careers, you are an entry-level applicant. Picture a 44-year-old moving out of logistics into an analyst track. 20 years of experience, real experience. He applies to a job labeled entry-level, and he's competing against a 23-year-old for a posting that says 5 years required. His experience is real, it's just in the wrong column. The label doesn't care how old he is. 2. The whole market has stopped moving. The quits rate, meaning people voluntarily leaving jobs, was 1.9% in May 2026 and has sat at or below 2% for close to a year. That's well below pre-pandemic norms and far below the roughly 3% peak in early 2022. Indeed's Hiring Lab calls this a low-hire, low-fire market. Job openings were unchanged at 7.6 million at the end of May, while 5.2 million people were hired during the month. Those 2 measures are not directly comparable. Openings are counted at one point in time, while hires are counted across the entire month. But paired with a quits rate of 1.9%, they describe a slow-moving labour market. If your plan is, I'll just find something better, the door may be narrower than the number of listings suggests. 3. The pipeline above you. Brookings has a second piece on this, about how AI reshapes career pathways. Their point is that these roles connect. Automate the origin role and you weaken the route to the destination role. It's not one job, it's a sequence. Signal Fire, a venture capital firm that tracks technology employment data, warns that cutting the entry-level pipeline may improve short-term margins, but create a structural leadership problem 5 to 10 years later. Which brings up the thing nobody plans for.
What we did most dramatically at NKU was to create a minor in artificial intelligence. So whatever you're majoring in, there will be a chance for you to go deep in AI to help you in school, to help your career.
Promotion into management requires people to manage, and flatter teams do not just remove junior seats. They can also create fewer management positions for experienced workers to move into.
The education is going to be more experiential. They are going to apply the AI techniques.
And the dean also added that human capabilities, those things such as critical thinking, also teamwork, those will be vital as well, and something that people should focus on both in their education as well as once they're already in the workforce.
Now the numbers on graduates. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York tracks unemployment for recent graduates, ages 22 to 27. In the first quarter of 2026, the rate was about 5.7%, against a national unemployment rate near 4.3%. Underemployment, meaning working in a job that typically does not require the degree, was 41.5%. Let me be precise here, because this gets misreported constantly. The degree still works, so recent graduates still generally perform better than similar workers without a degree. The degree beats no degree. What changed is how quickly it delivers the result people expect. Recent graduates are currently doing worse than the overall workforce average. The concerning part is the size and persistence of the gap, not that it has never happened before. The degree didn't stop working, it stopped working fast. And the companies? Signal Fire is not a neutral research body, and its analysis uses self-reported LinkedIn data. Its 2026 report found that new graduate hiring at the largest technology companies was down roughly 65% compared with 2019, and down about 76% at early-stage technology startups. Its earlier 2025 report found something sharper. While new graduate hiring in technology fell, hiring of people with 2 to 5 years of experience rose 27%. In Signal Fire's technology data, companies did not stop hiring completely. They shifted toward people who had already proven they could do the work. Now I have to argue against myself, because there is a group of economists at Yale who think the broader AI employment story is being overstated, and they have a strong methodology. The Budget Lab at Yale tracks this monthly. Their conclusion is stability, not disruption, at an economy-wide level. In May 2026, they used a method designed to compare AI-exposed work with a more comparable control group. Their estimates were close to zero and statistically indistinguishable from no effect. Brookings and Yale also published a joint analysis pointing toward more continuity than collapse. That's a serious challenge, and I'm not going to wave it off. At the economy-wide level, the case is not proven. Yale's April 2026 tracker did note a modest change in the types of jobs held by younger versus older college graduates. But Yale also said that movement remained within the historical range. So Yale's broader data still finds no clear economy-wide AI footprint. The strongest entry-level signal comes from Stanford's more detailed payroll data, while the broader evidence remains inconclusive. And it isn't happening everywhere. In the Stanford data, health aid jobs grew faster for young workers than they did for older workers. Where AI was more likely to augment people, employment rose across all ages. The pain appears concentrated in routine, screen-based, text and numbers work, which is exactly where the safe office career was supposed to live. So why is AI making entry-level jobs so hard to get? Because it may be weakening the bargain that supported them. Companies tolerated beginners partly because they needed people to handle routine work. AI can now absorb some of that work. That gives employers another way to operate without hiring and training as many people from the beginning. 5 years required was never only about experience, it was about risk. Employers have always preferred proof over potential. What changed is that some of them can now afford that preference more easily. Who benefits? Workers with a track record in AI-exposed fields. In Signalfire's technology data, experienced hires are holding up better than new graduates. Companies may benefit in the short term through lower staffing costs, and workers whose jobs sit more clearly on the augmentation side rather than the automation side may be in a stronger position. Who doesn't? Anyone whose main pitch is, "I'll learn fast." New graduates, career changers, people re-entering the workforce after time away. Where is the risk lower? When the work is physical, relational, or accountable. When someone has to be in the room or personally responsible for the outcome. And when you can show completed work instead of only describing what you might be capable of doing. Does learning AI fix it? The evidence isn't in. What we can say is that occupations where AI assists people are holding up better than occupations where it replaces more of the tasks. That's a signal about which side of the line to be on. It isn't a promise, and I'm not going to sell you one. Nobody can tell you exactly what your specific job will look like in 5 years. I'm also not telling you to leave an entire field. The data doesn't say the field is gone. It says the on-ramp may be getting narrower, and the old assumption underneath it, that a degree plus willingness to learn was enough, is becoming less reliable. If you take one thing from this, take this. Companies used to buy potential and turn it into skill because they had fewer ways to get routine work done without hiring beginners. Now they have another option. Potential got more expensive to buy at exactly the moment it got easier to skip. So here's my question. If companies keep hiring fewer beginners, where do the experienced people come from in 10 years? Because most senior people in most companies got their start in a job they weren't fully qualified for yet. Somebody took the risk. If that stops, the shortage doesn't show up immediately. It shows up in 2036 when fewer people are ready to move into senior roles. Tell me in the comments, is this a temporary hiring freeze that snaps back when the economy loosens? Or is the door closing for good? And if you've been on either side of this recently, hiring or applying, I want to hear what you're actually seeing. The data shows the shape of it. It doesn't show the feeling. If you want more videos that take a money question seriously and check whether the common answer survives contact with the evidence, subscribe. That's the whole channel. We ask whether it's worth it, and we follow the numbers wherever they land. Even when they land somewhere inconvenient. I'll see you in the next one.